Hey everybody, and welcome back to Dude's Brunch. It's a podcast about pop culture, internet garbage, and black coffee. I'm your host, Taylor Olmstead, and with me, it's Tyler Reed. Tyler, what you have for brunch today?
Hey kids, good to see you again. This week, we have a very special treat. You know, I'm working at the coffee emporium as always, but we now have our turkey dinner burrito wraps now. So it's basically everything I love about Thanksgiving, and the way I eat my Thanksgiving, all in one thing. So it's got turkey, the cranberry, the stuffing. It's so good, and I'm gonna probably eat it the entire month. Because honestly, guys, I if you didn't know, it's already Christmas. October 31st, 1 p.m., Christmas.
I did hear Christmas music when I went to work the other day, and I was like, I was taking it back for a second. I was like, oh my god, it's November 2nd.
Right.
Like, literally, it was November 2nd.
Right. I mean, I hate colonialism in late capitalism as much as everybody else.
Oh my god. Shut your mouth.
That was for Catherine, who doesn't listen to the show. That's fine.
Shaun's right, though. I was in the living room a couple minutes before we started recording, watching Bob's Burgers with my roommate, and there were already TV commercials with Santa Claus in them on November 5th.
Nintendo of America put out a tweet on October 31st with Christmas on it. You're killing me, Nintendo.
It's ridiculous. Well, Shaun Evans is here. Shaun, did you have a holiday brunch today?
No. Unless you mean the fact that peanut butter and chocolate flavored Cheerios were on sale at the store last week for 99 cents a box, and I doubled down.
That sounds pretty delicious, not gonna lie.
I feel that's a deal everybody can get behind, yeah.
No, it's like a Reese's Puff knockoff.
You know, take what you can get for 99 cents.
It doesn't hold its flavor that much either.
Eat it fast.
Well, I'm your host, Taylor, and for brunch this morning, I had scrambled eggs and toast and grits. It was pretty delicious, and
Hell yeah.
I ate them as I watched episode 1 of season 2 of Stranger Things, and I finished episode 9 of season 2 of Stranger Things about an hour ago. It's been a super productive day in my household.
And this would be the part where we would then launch into our 3-hour discussion of the entirety of Stranger Things. Unfortunately, I finished the first season, like, the day before Halloween, so... and I started last Halloween, so I've been really dragging my feet with that.
Shaun, are you on the Stranger Things hype train?
No.
This does not surprise me.
In 140 characters or less, can you explain why?
Of what?
Why you're not into Stranger Things?
I don't care about it.
That's fair.
I watched, like, the first episode of the first season, and I was just like, eh.
You're like, oh, this show's just gonna be about Dungeons and Dragons. I've already watched one of those shows.
No, it's not even like that. Sarah watches it. She really likes it. And I've, like, overheard some of it, but I'm not, like, crazy about it.
That's fine. We'll just get Sarah on instead of you, and it'll be fine.
That's fine.
Honestly, my roommate and I have talked about this a lot. We both feel like it's fine. I enjoyed it more than he did, but it's not, like, groundbreaking or all that, like, uniquely special. It's just kind of like a dialed-down version of Twin Peaks. And you know what? For a Sunday where I just had to do a bunch of housework and, like, do laundry and stuff, it was a fun watch. I think it probably gets a little bit blown out of proportion, but hey, people are enjoying it, so who cares?
I mean, I just think that it's probably people like me that have never seen Twin Peaks, or, like, they generally probably were the right target demographic for that anyway, and I'm sure nostalgia doesn't help, you know. And, you know, of course, they have a very likable cast, and...
Oh yeah, the cast is fantastic, and the acting is generally very good. I mean, it's a really well put together show, but I don't know. I'm glad I waited a while to watch it, because I feel like the hype train just got out of control there for a minute.
Right. And, you know, and I think Netflix shows that are on Netflix have an inherent bingeability, and it means they're going to be watchable back to back, whereas some shows are just way too episodic for you to actually consume in mass volumes. So I think that just automatically gives it, like, a slide of a little bit of a leg up just from the creation of it, the way it was created. So.
Oh, definitely. You especially notice that in the first season, where I feel like it just doesn't have, like, the episode-ending cliffhangers that you would expect from a show of that style. And that really, like, it took me 3 or 4 days to get through the first season because of that. But then I watched the whole second season in one day.
Mm-hmm.
There are a lot of weird structural things going on there. Speaking of Netflix shows, though, have either of you guys watched Big Mouth at all?
I started watching it.
I saw the preview, but I was like, is this gonna be another one of those Rick and Morty things?
Not even close.
No,
Well,
it's not.
As an outsider, as a not Rick and Morty fan, I'm like, what's this?
Have you even watched it?
No, I've literally never watched it.
Oh my god, shut your mouth then. You have an iPad, right?
I do.
Okay, download the Adult Swim app, and then go to as soon as you download it, go to their marathons, which is the first tab. Hit marathons. Yes. Dude, they probably aren't going to stop it for like 2 months. You can go on there and just click on it whenever you want and watch. Just continue to watch it over and over.
Getting a peek into how Shaun spends his spare time here.
That's why I was just saying. This is why I don't watch Stranger Things too, because I got rid of Netflix because I don't want to have their dumb service anymore.
That's fair.
Whoa. Do we already say that I saw someone in real life say that they preferred Hulu over Netflix?
Oh my god.
Hulu's fine. I don't mind Hulu.
I mean, I think it has a lot of good value, and I think the new update certainly makes it more usable because, honestly, I was using on a PS3, and it just lagged, and I was like, I would just like to... Listen, Catherine loves her PS3 specifically because it has a remote for it, and she doesn't have one for her PS4 yet. It's the only reason she hasn't made the switch. But the new update seems to be a lot going on faster, and I just really just don't want to use ads if I'm paying for her service. Which then goes into another discussion about, well, if everyone's just blocking ads... why do we even make ads? And then... Right, and we don't need to go into that rabbit hole.
My family has sprung for the ad-free Hulu since almost all of us are off cable now.
What do you mean sprung? There's a literal $2 difference.
Well, we had the ad-supported Hulu for a while, and then, like, maybe 6 months in, we were like, let's just do it. And I have to say, when you just go all the way up to the ad-free model, Hulu's pretty great. And the new app, you're right, Tyler, it's a lot faster and a lot better.
I don't think you should have to pay more for no ads. I think that's kind of fucked up, but that's fine. It feels like a real cash grab, but alright.
I think that that's definitely a millennial thing, though, where millennials are like, I'm paying for this, I don't want to see ads.
Oh, that's 100% a millennial thing, yeah.
This is the conversation I wanted to avoid. I mean, we can just have that conversation, but I figured...
I think we've been down that road before on this podcast, and we don't need to go there.
We're still the best generation, though, so...
Is that true?
Okay, so speaking of follow-up, since we're going to move into that, do you guys know what 538 podcast is?
Yeah, it's Nate Silver's, like... politics and big data and whatnot podcast, right?
Well, they did a statistical analysis of Halloween candies. You want to guess what their statistical analysis thought was the number one candy?
Reese's.
Yep. You want to know what their last one was? Guess.
Tootsie Rolls.
Nope.
Red Swedish Fish.
No.
Paydays.
No, it's funny because this is something that I remember we said on our podcast that we thought wasn't ever going to be a good one.
What was it?
It's Skittles.
That's crazy.
That's the worst one?
That was the least desired one.
Huh.
That's just not even true. I feel like although it did get out first round, I still can't accept that that's like one of the worst candies you can get.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I agree with that data. I feel like it's a solidly middle tier candy, but hey, who's to argue with Nate Silver? I don't have a degree in advanced statistics or whatever he has, so it's fine.
Yeah, whatever.
Real quick, as we're talking about political podcasts, is anyone listening to Pod Save America or any of those similar ones?
No, because I don't want to get angry.
Okay, that's fine.
You know what's funny? I was at this bar, and that was a really awkward time. This is probably like back in May. And, like, I was talking to this girl, and she was like, oh, yeah, do you listen to this podcast? I was like, what? And she's like, it's called Pod Save America. It's written by a bunch of former DNC staffers. And I was like, oh, yeah. So I subscribed to it. I never listened to one episode, and I just deleted it.
I listened to one episode, and I was like, boy, this sure informed me about things, but also I'm furious. So maybe I don't really use podcasts as my furious time, so I should probably also have deleted it.
Tyler, I don't use podcasts as my furious time read.
That's probably one of the better.
What is your furious thing, Tyler?
Competitive online video games.
But no, that's an interesting point, Shaun. I feel like it's been a minute since I had a show like that that I downloaded and then haven't listened to any of. But I actually have one sitting on my phone right now that I just picked up.
Dude's Brunch.
No.
Oh, rip.
It's this show called Dissect, where this guy is doing... Each season, he, like, tears apart a different album, track by track, and, like, interprets each of the songs. And so he just finished doing My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy by Kanye West. And I've been meaning to just, like, binge the whole Dark Twisted Fantasy season, and I just haven't got around to it, and it's all sitting on my phone right now. Tyler, do you have any podcasts that you're, like, teetering on the edge of?
I mean, Pod Save America. Goodness. I have this time where I go through, like, lots of, like, expansion, and then the period where I just condense, like, immensely. It happens with just about every sort of, like, hobby or thing I really like is. Like, I'll find, like, all sorts of new music, and I'll kind of just limit it down to what I actually liked. And, like, specifically with podcasts, I've kind of really gone through, like, a contraction period. And I just keep going back to just McElroy products, and I just can't just, like, stray from that because they just are funny and they don't make me feel shitty. And that's it. And there's a few, like, video game podcasts that, like, I listen to, like, niche ones. I don't know. Reply All has been doing a bunch of, like, replays of their old episodes, and I'm like... When's this going to be over? I know you're busy doing things.
It's over now. They're back.
It is?
Yeah. They just did a really good two-parter about bounty hunters. That was excellent.
Oh, I see. Yeah, because I skipped that because it was... sometimes I forget how few episodes they have.
Yeah.
They haven't actually done that many. So 107 is actually one of the newer ones, so I should go ahead and listen to that, yeah.
Yeah, it's 107 and 108. We'll put links in the show notes. They're really, really good.
But generally, video game podcasts are pretty much a dime a dozen, and you can kind of cut them out as you're like, well, they pretty much die on the personalities if you like them or not. But isn't that every podcast, though?
You're not wrong. You're not wrong.
See, and this is the perfect transition into our topic. Because you gotta cut through all the crap. And sometimes you gotta do crazy stuff.
Sometimes you gotta rob a Dunkin' Donuts because the people working there are already miserable enough.
Sometimes you gotta go into a Chick-fil-A, break 2 milkshakes across your chest, scream that you got a million Snapchat followers, and then slip and slide 4 times in front of the counter.
So, Shaun, tell us how you found this weird thing that we're gonna talk about here.
Okay, so I should start by saying this, according to Know Your Meme, with the only website that's relevant to this podcast, and Reddit, which is basically Know Your Meme, Boonk Gang.
Is it Boonk Gang? Boonk Gang?
Oh, sorry. I guess it's Boonk Gang because it's Boonk. So Boonk Gang is an online pseudonym for South Florida resident John Robert Hill, who gained much online notoriety for posting footage of him performing stunts and committing various crimes on Instagram. Sorry, it was Instagram, not Snapchat. Okay, so basically how I heard about this was the other night at work, one of my coworkers / one of my employees picked up something, a shoe or something, looked me right in the face and said, "I'm going to take this shoe," and then proceeded to run through my store yelling, "Boonk Gang, Boonk Gang, Boonk Gang, Boonk Gang," like really, really loud for like maybe 20 seconds. And everyone was dying laughing, and I had no idea who Boonk Gang is. I just didn't know. So they started telling me about it, and I thought it was kind of crazy. So I went home and looked it up, and this is what I found. And it is everything that they told me it was going to be and more.
So this guy, who apparently goes by Boonk, is an aspiring rapper who is using like pranks and viral videos to try and gain notoriety. That's basically what's going on here?
Yeah, pretty much. We'll post some videos in the links that basically talks about, there's like a news story about him, which is hilarious. You know who would get put on this beat? Emily.
This would be a story that Emily would have to cover.
This would be something that Emily would have to cover. But yeah, he's an aspiring rapper who wants to like cut through the social media like craziness by doing outrageous quote unquote stunt videos. For the record, he has gotten arrested. I think one of the like pranks that he's known for the best, that before I even knew much about him, they were telling me that he like, one was the watch one that we saw. Did you see the watch one?
Yeah, where he has a woman like showing him a watch at a jewelry store, and then he asks if he can hold it and runs away with it.
Right, and he runs out. And then the other one was the donut one, and they told me there's another one that we didn't see that's it's a Popeye's chicken one. But it's essentially the same thing, where he like goes into a chain restaurant or like whatever, and he like hops the counter, and he just goes up, and he's like, you know, talking crap the whole time, and then he just like grabs whatever he wants, and then he just runs out. And there's like all these videos of him doing this stuff where he like goes into Dunkin' Donuts and like grabs like a whole tray of donuts, and then he like goes to, there's another one where he's at like a Little Caesars, and he just walks in Little Caesars, walks behind the counter, opens up the little heater, grabs a pizza, and runs out. And then he's just like, there's one where he goes to Popeyes. He like walks behind the counter at Popeyes. He just like gets a box, goes up, starts grabbing some chicken, starts putting it in the box. He's like yelling at the employees the whole time. They're yelling at him, and then he just runs out. And and I'm like, I would never deal with this. Like, when we were watching this, Tyler was saying like, this is probably really funny for somebody who's never worked in food services, and I think you're definitely right. I think there's a lot of truth to this. That like, it's not like it's funny when you watch it, but if this ever happened to you, you would be so mad. Oh my god, I would be livid if somebody came into my store and they did something like this. Oh my god.
You mean if someone walked into a Banana Republic and just put on a jacket and then ran out?
See, and not really banana, but like if anybody at any store that I ever worked at, if they like came in and stole, yeah, I'm mad, because it happens. It happens, and it's really frustrating. But yeah, I mean, it's just crazy. It really is just
like this is a perfect example of like, do you understand what empathy is? If you want to learn really quick, work in food service, and then watch literally anything like this, and then you're like, oh, I feel very bad for these people because I have also felt these things.
But this brings me to the point of like why I think this is interesting, why I want to talk about this on the show. Because I feel like once I knew more about this as we watched these videos, I feel like this is purely an internet phenomenon thing, right? Like, it just seems like a lot of stuff has culminated in this particular, in Boonk. Like, this is, like, I feel like it's almost an effect. And Boonk kind of like
gave it a name.
He is. You know, because like he's an independent rapper, that's for sure, because he probably isn't on a label. He's an independent rapper. He's an internet celebrity. He does outrageous pranks. Like he has a trademark prank / stunt. Like he gets like free buzz now just from doing the crazy stuff that he does. Like, I haven't even heard his rap. I don't even know if it's any good. But like, I can't say that I'm not somewhat interested now, because clearly he is just nuts. But yeah, and he's doing this like guerrilla hustle thing, you know, where he's like going out there and doing it himself. And he figured out a way to do it, to like cut through all the social media stuff to get to where he needed to be. This topic is this podcast.
I wouldn't take it that far.
Oh, okay, whatever. So talk to me about that then.
Well, there are a lot of things that I want to unpack in what you were saying, kind of opening this topic up.
All right.
Let's start with how this is like a culmination of a bunch of different things. Because when I watched this, the overwhelming feeling I got was like a weird familiarity and nostalgia for a much earlier time in YouTube history. This is all taking place on Instagram, and if it were, 12 to 16 months ago, this would have been taking place on Vine. But really, like, people have been doing this kind of stuff on YouTube for a very long time. People like The Angry Black Man and Glozell, or oh gosh, I can't think of the guy's name. Logan Paul, although he was mostly a Vine guy too, but now he's on YouTube. This like stunts in public, pranks in public, like that sort of content has been kind of a backbone of YouTube for a really long time, and there used to be a whole lot more of it than there is now. And so watching this, I was honestly just like kind of reminded of the sort of videos that I used to watch back in high school. And that was kind of interesting, but then you're right, like the self-promo piece of it comes in and makes it this whole other thing. In the news clip that Shaun talks about, which we'll link in the show notes, he's very blatant about like, this is a publicity stunt. He says that at one point. He's like, I did this to get a bunch of Instagram followers, and now I'm like working my music back in and posting more of that stuff and trying to get people to pay attention. And it's so interesting that like this 20-year-old guy is like totally cool with selling out and making a fool of himself before he even makes a name for his creative work. He's kind of like doing it in reverse, which I think is what makes this fascinating to me.
Right. Well, yeah, he's doing it in reverse.
Oh, I see what you're saying, that like 10, 15, 20 years ago, we wouldn't have seen it this way. It would have been person makes music, becomes a celebrity, and then acts crazy.
Right. Mm-hmm. I mean, look at, because I think about that's what's so interesting about this, because this takes so many little things that got people famous, right? Like if you were a good rapper back in the day, right? Or you wanted to have a good rap career, you would be a good rapper. Like people would know who you are, right? That's just how the industry worked. Like Jackass.
Yeah, there's a lot of parallels with Jackass and Viva La Bam and Nitro Circus and that whole scene here too, because it is that like prank video, crazy stuff in public type of thing.
Right, and it was made by like kids. It's made by like kids with like videotape cameras that mailed it into MTV, like literally through the mail, like.
And of course now it's just shot on an iPhone and uploaded to YouTube. But yeah, you're right.
Right, but I mean, like that was. I mean, think about that. That was like Jackass was a process, Like you had edited a little bit, send it into them. Like now, the platform already exists, right? So it's like doing something that's more outrageous to get, whatever you have to do. Like I guess maybe that's where like Boonk has kind of been that kind of makes it is like when Jackass was coming out, where were you getting these videotapes? Like from your neighbor or something who maybe like knew somebody who made them, in their backyard or something. But like Boonk is like he found a way to like cut through all the internet to get people to follow him in a place that's pretty much saturated with everything.
It's interesting that you bring up like where do you get these tapes from? Like, do you get them like from neighbors and stuff? Because I remember very vividly you guys buying a bootleg DVD from some guy at the mall
of his little pranks.
Yeah, of him doing this kind of stuff. But you had to do that, like you had to go to the mall and like run into this dude and buy his DVD off of him.
Right. It was almost chance.
Yeah. Whereas you can tell that like what Boonk is doing is very calculated.
Right. I mean, clearly he knows what he's doing. Clearly he like goes into these things and he knows like what's gonna.
And it's funny because in the Truth About Boonk video, which is also down in the show notes, they mention that a lot of his videos have been exposed as being fake. But I think, at least for me, watching the first video in the compilation that we watched, I was like, this is fake, like obviously, but it is still interesting. And I wonder if people are continuing to watch it with that in mind, like I am, like, yeah, this is obviously fake, but I kind of can't stop watching it.
That sort of makes me feel better, though, that at least it's, like, kind of fake.
Right.
Because it's just, God, I didn't believe at almost 27 years old I'd be back in customer service again, but here I am. And I'm like, God, if someone just did that to me, I am like, all right, buddy, you do what you gotta do. Just don't kill me, okay? Just... Oh, God. Like, I almost specifically... I wouldn't say this is the same situation, but, like, since I'm working... Like, I worked at the board game bar, and that was mostly just drunk people, and that's fine. Those people were fairly normal. They didn't really cause a lot of problems, surprisingly. But, like, now that I'm like at like a coffee shop, and we deal with like such a menagerie of people of just income levels and nationalities, like people that can barely speak English, people that like, just like they're just looking for just anything to eat at all, and so it's really interesting. You just get all sorts of people. And today I had a situation where I guess this guy had already gotten a drink before, but he came up and he was like, he's just stone faced. He's like, "Can I get a refill?" I was like, "Yeah, sure, yeah, that'll be just a buck." I was trying to be real nice, as I usually am, because you don't want to be rude to anyone. He seemed perfectly normal, and then like he's just like, "You're very rude," or he said like, "You were like, you're not nice," or something, and I was like, "What happened? What did I do?"
That?
Yeah. And then like he's like, "I need a cup," and I was like, "Sure, yeah, here you go." And then like he just like gripped it, like it like just like iron fisted it and like just took it away from me. And I was like, "Okay." Like, I don't know what I did. And then he said something else to me, and I don't remember, but it was so alarming, and it was just like, it felt like he like pierced through to my soul. I'm like, am I not a good person? What did I do?
Oh my god, you're so young.
And I was just like,
You're so new to customer service.
I've been doing this for a long time, but it was just so interesting because for me, my personality, I care a lot about what people have to say about me, and I always really kind of like to reflect on that kind of stuff. And, ultimately I probably just determined he was just probably just a weird dude. And that's fine. Like, we don't need to read into anything. But I was like, what if he's the soothsayer? What if he's like this? What if I'm actually in the movie? And but of course that's like, my idealism, where I'm like, oh, this is this is where my movie starts. But obviously I know it was just some dude, but it was just so interesting. I had never had someone just so, like, people have been like serious to me before, and then they like the punchline happened, and I was like, "Oh, he was just kidding." But and that punchline just never came, so I was just like, "Oh, okay." All right. So, all that being said, so some motherfucker just jumps on the table and just goes back and takes all my donuts. I'm like, it
sounds like you would just like completely have a meltdown.
I would just, I mean mentally I would, but like what am I supposed to do about that? Like, I worked at Dunkin' Donuts, and they're like, if someone points a gun at you, you just give them whatever they want. Like, don't worry about it. So, I'm like,
so that actually brings me to an interesting question. Like, I guess let's start with kind of the obvious question of how would you respond in this situation. So Tyler kind of shared his. Shaun, what would you do if Boonk came into your place of business and was making a video of some kind?
Well, hopefully he would have come in before and said, like, "Hey, I'm going to make this video." To which I don't really know how I would respond. Like, it really depended on what was going on. I mean, I have to say it professionally, I would say no. I'd be like, "Listen, like, this is hilarious, and I think that you're, like, really funny, but I'm just not going to let this happen here because I don't want that kind of publicity, right? Like, if I own my own business or something and I wanted to get like a good like shameless plug in, I might let it happen.
Shameless.
Right. But at the same time, like, because I don't own my business, I would have to say no.
That's a really interesting distinction. I mean, I was thinking more along the lines of like, he didn't ask permission, he just came in and did it though. Yeah, I mean, I think if he came into a place where I was working to do this sort of thing, if he did it without permission, honestly, I'd probably call the cops as soon as he left. Like, regardless of, like, it doesn't seem like they're violent when they do these things. They're just goofing. Like, they're pulling a grift, right? But I think it's just disruptive, and, like, if I didn't know about it beforehand and I didn't know who Boonk was, probably call the police. That being said, if he came in and was reasonable about it and was like, hey, I want to do this video in your place of business. Here's exactly what I'm going to do. And, here's where it's going to be posted afterwards and all that stuff. I might consider it. Because I feel like if he's doing the courtesy of, like, at least letting you know, and, I mean, that's something. It's obvious that, like, some of the things he does are more impactful on the business than others, right? Like, taking the whole tray of donuts and then later returning them is one thing. But in the videos where he just, like, runs through a store and knocks down whole shelving units, I'm like, no. You can't be doing that. Because at that point, you're costing, like, multiple man-hours worth of work. And that's not okay.
Well, that's the thing. I don't even know if it's like if he came in and said anything. I think I would still almost be like no, because like
Just for the sake of a conversation, Taylor, what retail location would you work at since you don't work at one?
Well, I worked in food service at a theme park when I was in high school.
That doesn't count. Just give a fake
Well,
one.
yes. What I mean is, like, I was imagining, like, I'm in, like, a fast food environment like I was there. And so it would
which one?
It would be, like, the McDonald's, Burger King type situation.
But specifically, which one?
It doesn't
If you
matter.
had to
They're the
choose.
same thing.
Taylor, no, they're not. Just say Wendy's.
Fine. If I managed a fucking Wendy's, and this dude came into my store and was like, hey, I'm going to come over the counter and steal a basket of French fries and then bring them back after I'm done shooting this video. Is that cool? I would consider it.
That's very
yeah,
good,
no,
Taylor.
I mean,
Thank you.
I wouldn't want anybody to come in and like mess with my store, because that takes a lot of time. Like, I'm not gonna lie, it probably costs like for somebody to fold a sweater in my store, like a whole table of sweaters for someone to do it. It probably costs $60 to $80.
Oh my god.
Because what I'm saying is like there's probably like on one of my tables right now there's probably like anywhere between 500 and 800 sweaters on a table, and if someone's got to refold all of those, that takes a lot of time.
Yeah, that's not an insignificant amount of time.
Yeah, like right now in my store we have 83,000 pieces of clothing,
And that's what I mean. It's more a matter of, like, how long is it going to take to repair whatever is done in the making of this video. Because I'm all down with the promotion element of it and the viral video part of it. 100%. I'm with you, Shaun. I think the hustle is super admirable. I'm kind of interested to see if his
hustle.
rapping is any good. Like, why not? But it is kind of frustrating to think about, like, how many hours of other people's time this dude is wasted.
Yeah. I think it depends on who it is, though. Like, if he's going into, like, these independent operator gas stations or something where they don't really care, I hope that it's all, like, stunts. You know what I mean? Because I could see some places where managers are, like, probably down for doing this, and it's probably hilarious.
That really don't like their job, they're going to put in their 2 weeks anyway.
Well, I don't really think it's that. It's just, like, they're just fine with it. You know what I mean? Like, if you're going to hop over a counter and steal some donuts, and it gets people to come to your business, that's probably all right, you know?
Well, and especially the donut ones, it looks like he's doing it at the end of the day anyway.
Yeah.
Like, not exactly prime donut buying time.
So
We'll confirm. I've thrown away, like, entire garbage cans full of donuts, so.
right, and I mean, ask yourself: is a stunt of somebody hopping over a counter and stealing a tray of donuts worse than a minor league baseball game having dollar beers? One of those things is clearly more dangerous than the other. All right.
Stealing the donuts?
Yes.
So this week for Internet Garbage, I found this... it's another one of these internet videos that's kind of hard to describe in an audio format. We'll link in the show notes. But this is another internet meme. It is the Spider-Man 2 pizza delivery theme meme. And basically, the way this works is Spider-Man 2 the second in the mid-2000s Spider-Man movies, had a video game adaptation, and you have to deliver pizzas in it. And this song plays during all of the pizza delivery levels in the video game, and it's like this dumb pizza Italian, like, stereotypical music. And so this video that we watched this week for Internet Garbage is of a young man who has come up with a 2-minute long choreographed dance to the pizza delivery theme music from the Spider-Man 2 PlayStation video game. Tyler, Shaun, what are your reactions to this?
This dude is a really good dancer.
Boy, he sure can dance.
No, he's actually really good.
He's a great dancer, honestly. Like, I'm really impressed with some of his moves.
Is he jiving? Is he having the time of his life? Is he watching that scene?
Boy, he sure seems to be.
Oh god, I'm sorry. I had to figure out. I didn't know this meme. I had no idea what the fuck was going on.
Yeah, I didn't know this meme either. And looking at it, it looks like it's just now starting to pick up steam, which is kind of why I wanted to talk about it. I guess this video was, I found it on r/deep into YouTube, a perennial hive of internet garbage, and it has 1,974 upvotes. So at the time that it was posted, it complied with Deep into YouTube's rules of less than 1,000 views because it had 797 views. As of today, this video has 10,952 views. So it seems like this meme is starting to approach dankness, you guys.
I'm watching real gameplay of this now. You're right. It just goes into that song. Why would they put that in this game? The real thing is funny. The fake thing. Why would they think that's a good idea? Anyway, I'm sorry. But no, so this is a rising meme. Oh boy. Goodness. I'm so excited. So is it this video specifically that's getting really popular?
No, it seems to be like just
meme?
random uses of this song as a meme, but this was one of the early examples.
Gotcha.
So I'm seeing like a Benito Mussolini speech with this music underneath it.
So is this like a shooting stars kind of thing?
Yeah, Anakin and Obi-Wan lightsaber fighting at the end of Star Wars Episode 3, but to this music. The actual pizza delivery scene from Spider-Man 2, but with this music.
Right. It's which is a side note. Are those actually worth watching in 2017?
The first one is really
year?
great. Spider-Man 2 and 3, not so much.
Well, we all know number 3s.
Yeah, 2 holds up fairly well, but it's not as good as the first one does. Shaun, what are your thoughts on this new dank meme?
Oh, wow. I'm more interested to see where it is in like a week and a half.
Yeah, I think this one has a lot of promise, but you're right. It's got to go a little bit further.
But that's a meme just doesn't exist. Like a meme has to be contextualized.
Right.
Does it have memeability? Yes, it does. Does a hedgehog burping have memeability? It also does.
Okay, so here's a fun example. This is a bass bomb version of this meme, also linked in the show notes.
Wait.
Oh my god, I can't listen to this.
Yeah, it's extremely unlistenable.
Okay, hold on. As a separate note, I decided to click on a random shooting stars meme, and there's one from the Lego movie that's literally just nothing changed from a scene in the Lego movie. I was like, wait, that's not how this is supposed to work. Oh no.
I think what's so interesting to me about this meme is the obscurity of the source material. Like, I had never even heard of or played the 2004 Spider-Man 2 video game, and this is just the background music of a side mission in a game that's now 13 years old. Like, I'm really glad that we're getting to a point with memes where we can really pull from this material that's so, like, seemingly minuscule and turn it into this big, sprawling memescape, if you will.
I don't know if that's true. I feel like we've always been able to do that in some way or another. I think that's always been consistent. I can't cite any specific examples, but I mean, like, I have to like look back in like meme history, but I feel like most memes, their inherent like success is based on some sort of like obscurity, like something that not everyone knows about, but like maybe like a small like subset specifically knows about, and then that's sort of like the mystery of it, kind of. Kind of makes it grow. Like, for example, I mean, I had vaguely remembered Shooting Stars, but I was like, oh, I kind of like this song. And I was like, well, I want to keep, I kind of wanted to listen to the song more. I wanted to kind of keep seeing different context for that. But, I mean, but you're right. I do think this is specifically a very fun version of this. Where it's like, who's going to really go back and find this?
Right. It's almost like an archaeology of memes, if you will.
Right. Meme archaeology. How far have we gotten?
How much deeper does it go?
Yeah, the meme. We started with meme economy, and now we're meme archaeology.
We just gotta dig down deeper into those meme mines.
Peanut butter jelly time. That's right. When's that gonna be recontextualized?
I'm sure it's gonna make a comeback. Alright folks, well now it's time to wrap the podcast up like we always do with a round of shameless plugs from the panel. We'll start with Tyler Reed. Tyler, where can the people find you and the stuff that you do?
Hey everybody. You can find my design and illustration work at tylerdreed.com, and you can find me on the socials as TDR Design on Instagram and Twitter.
Shaun, if the people want to find you, where can they do that?
You can find me on Twitter at sevans8910-78910.
And of course, if you want to hang out with me on the interwebs, I'm at TC Olmstead on all the socials. And of course, you can like and follow the show. We're at Dudes Brunch. We have a subreddit too, and a Twitch channel, and oh my gosh, a bunch of other stuff. We got merch, we got all sorts of other stuff. But what we would really appreciate is if you could leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. It helps new people find the show. Other than that, we will see you next time for another episode of Dudes Brunch. Was that an outro?
I guess.
It is now.
It was really good. I like that. That was awesome.